Hey guys, what's up? It's New. Welcome back to another Path of Exile video. Today I'm going to be taking you on a deep dive discovery of the Freeze Elemental Hood of the Spectrum, exactly what makes that build work. You got to see the thumbnail, so you have some sense of the pieces that work here. On the back end of this video, we'll be looking at Path of Building, especially the Ailment Thresholds section, which is going to be extremely revealing to help you understand why this build is head and shoulders over Lightning Arrow, its conventional counterpart, which is no doubt a very good build. And I'm not going to do that without showcasing both side by side. So I like testing things thoroughly. I like showcasing things as apples to apples as I possibly can, and that's exactly what I'm doing in the front end of this video. You got timestamps down below. You got two separate Path of Buildings down below. The Atlas down below, which is going to be conventional Legion Atlas with Beyond, Exarch, Altars, some Nico packed with energy to replicate somebody trying to break into Legion, maybe when they're maybe not quite ready for it. But perhaps, trying to get that jump on the early currency. And the first build is the Elemental Hood of the Spectrum, as you got to see me scan through the gear. It's for proof of that. And you got to see some of the Lightning Arrow gear also featured there. This is still precise technique. This is right before switching over to crit with a crit bow. Roughly 5 divines worth of gear invested in both cases. Fairly equal power thresholds for what it's worth. But I think you will see after this video that Elemental Hit of the Spectrum takes the cake, particularly when you take a look and consider the incoming damage, the danger associated with incoming damage on both builds. So right now, I am currently killing the boss. Take a look, see the Ailment Threshold. We are going to get a 30 chill and 17 shock by the end. That's pretty good as far as killing a boss is concerned. That's because of the gloves, granting us 196% more Ailment Threshold effectively. I got a double Legion here, which I'm going to leave the video running. And, people have said that Elemental Hood of the Spectrum is inferior to Lightning Arrow on Legions for clear, particularly for the Stasis clear. And one reason why I'm showcasing Legions is because if there were ever a setting where Lightning Arrow would have the distinct advantage over Elemental Hood of the Spectrum, it would be this. It would be Legion, particularly the Stasis mechanic. Why? Well, one reason, Herald of Ice doesn't work on it. That's very unfortunate. But the other major reason is because Lightning Arrow chains through, which we'll see in just a moment. It has chain, and it can actually range some of the monsters who are not really in packs, kind of far apart, but not exactly. These monsters are spread out just enough so that the AoE from Elemental Hit doesn't hit most of them. So it is actually quite disadvantageous for Elemental of the Spectrum in a straightforward sense, but there are a lot of arrows, there's return projectiles, and you can see I can open these up pretty well. Pay close attention, though. The moment the Legion unlocks, this is a very dangerous moment for somebody who has the kind of gear that I have on here with, a max hit of like 10k maybe, standing next to like, 8 massive rares, some of which have double or triple health. It'd be really scary. But as you can see, virtually every single monster, rares included, except for the Soul Eater monster that chasing me around, is totally frozen. And there's almost no chance of me dying right here. All right, well, take a look. We got a Lightning Arrow, as true as she can be. The very good, well-rounded build. I'm still wearing the same gloves, by the way, because I'm still doing precise technique, and I think they're all quite strong. As a matter of fact, we're opening up a double Legion right now, the Stasis mode here, and this is where a Lightning Arrow would excel if it did anywhere, but you notice the damage isn't that amazing, which we'll take a look in the Path of Building. It's not like it's, way better at opening the Legion, at least not at this gear threshold. You also notice that I'm being chased around by effects, even, just from straggler monsters. That was not the case with Elemental Hood of the Spectrum. It so happens that when you freeze all the rares, you also freeze their special abilities. So I didn't have the lightning conduits, I don't have the volatile things chasing me like they are right there. Makes it quite dangerous. This moment, right before or right after the Legion unlocks, is especially dangerous moment, and if I'm not hauling ass, killing everything about as fast as I can, keep moving, continually move, that's it. That's a portal gone. And maybe many portals after that. Beyond spawning is also very dangerous here, but, the pack size is pretty small. There was a rare Beyond monster that was running around for a while there. And, you can just see this here. Like, everything is coming at me. Everything. And it's fine. I do have Lightning Coil. I did build this to be a lot tankier than normal, because it's more new player friendly than normal. It just so happened I didn't get killed. 91% evasion chance definitely helps with that. But that is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the difference, especially right after the Legion unlocks. I can just stand around and twiddle my thumbs on the Elemental Hood of the Spectrum build, but here, I gotta be boom, go, 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 or I'm gonna die. for sure. And I will anyway, at some point, especially if I start running 8-mod corrupted maps, especially if I start running Delirium, whether I get better gear or not. All right, there you go. That is a side-by-side comparison mapping showcase of Lightning Arrow versus Elemental of the Spectrum Freeze, and you get a sense now, hopefully it's illuminating for you, so you can see just what it's like. The danger of popping Legion on either build, how much you have to run around with Lightning Arrow, the clear of Lightning Arrow versus Elemental of the Spectrum with this snapshot of gear. Hopefully you got a pretty good sense of what it's like. So, if you have been illuminated so far, trust me, we're not done yet. It's going to be way more mind-boggling here when we look at the path of building comparisons here. Right now I have both of these open, and they are available in the description of the video. Both of them are. If you load the Lightning Arrow version, it's not set up with the other tiers, so you can't like adjust the settings on it or whatever. It's just a snapshot here. But first off, you're going to notice a huge difference in damage. It looks like Elemental of the Spectrum is doing twice as much damage as Lightning Arrow, at least just in its actual like primary attack ability. What's going on there? Well, we'll look into it in a second, but I'm going to start by explaining the tech first. All right, the tech for Elemental of the Spectrum, what makes this build so insane, so special, is the freeze aspect of it. Where is that coming from? That's coming from 3 items. That's the gloves, amulet, and the skill gem together. We'll start with the amulet. The amulet's really simple. Now, in order to scale freeze, the primary way to do that is to scale freeze duration. Freeze duration, this amulet offers me a total of 60%, counting the anoint. That's the strongest freeze duration anoint in the game. And it also has freeze prolif. It also has some increased damage too. And then cold res, which I don't care about. The prolif is extremely powerful in maps. And it's basically like blast freeze, except even a stronger range. And then we have chance to freeze, which is in fact meaningful. But yeah, the 60% increased freeze duration is how you scale freeze. It's not freeze effect. That's why increased effect of non-damaging elements doesn't impact freeze. This stat is very hard to get. Very hard to get. And doesn't really multiply with anything else, except for, in a very unique situation, these gloves. Inflict non-damaging elements, though dealing up to 200% more damage. That is multiplicative with the increased duration of freeze. Now, I was running southbound gloves for more duration, but they're not anywhere near as good as these gloves because of the multiplier involved. Now, if you don't understand how strong those gloves are, maybe you're around for Sanctum League, maybe you're around for the cold conversion tornado shot build where everybody's running Expedition Den to do no-hit runs in Sanctum and actually freeze everything in a Sanctum, including the really dangerous, unique monsters around the corner. And that was because of Expedition Den line freeze chilled enemies, though dealing 100% more damage. Wow, 100%. That's only half of these gloves. Okay, it turns out that everybody back then should have been running these gloves too. But I guess they didn't. You know why they didn't? Well, it's because these gloves have a downside. And this is why everybody overlooks them, I guess. Because everybody wants their free ailments, no questions asked. You don't get free ailments with these gloves. Critical strikes do not inherently inflict non-damaging ailments. Well, that's obviously fine on precise technique build. I'm already doing it the hard way, right? By getting this in a few places. It's not very easy to get, but here's one place where you can get a chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. You can get a suffix on a flask. Definitely a build to be made there with a mage blood and different skill gem options there. But anyway, yeah, you have to do it the hard way. You have to get an inherent chance to freeze, shock, and ignite, which is where I bring you to the final piece of the puzzle, which is Elemental Hit Gem itself. Everybody already knows it's a powerful gem. Everybody knows because the flat damage is immense, extremely powerful when your bow is still weak. And look, my bow it's fine. It's tier 2, 3, 4. Nothing that special, but, the worse your bow is, the better the gem is. But here's a line people don't think about. 48% chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. That's build enabling. That's straight up build enabling with these gloves. Whether you're going a crit version or not, that's half the work done for you right there. So now it's unbelievably powerful, that skill gem, in conjunction with these 2 items. To a lesser extent, Ahuana's Bite, these gloves are multiplicative with the chill effect multiplier of these, which is crazy strong. And then Bone Chill, which is linked to Frenzy of all things, works in full force, so doubling up on the quiver and bone chill. Those are side effects, but that is where some of the crazy damage multipliers is coming from. Also, this down here, enemies permanently take 5% increased damage each time they've ever been frozen, up to a maximum of 50%. Guys, that's 110% increased damage taken. Those 3 sources right there. So that is where we're getting a stupid amount of increased damage. And those are global, by the way. Those do not just apply to cold. They're global. They're for fire, cold, and lightning, which is why the triple element setup works so well. All right, so you ready to have your mind really blown? Here it is. This is the big number right here. For freeze to apply, for the minimum of 0.3 seconds, target must have no more than 13 million ailment threshold. Now, 0.3 seconds is not a long time, but it doesn't matter because we're firing arrows 4 times a second. So for the most part, you just keep firing, and if you even hit that minimum threshold, you're good. That enemy is permanently frozen. As you saw in the mapping showcase, rares included. 13 million. That's a big number. That's bigger than any monster in a map, except maybe some bosses or some really high delirium stuff. And that is why in a tier 17, even in delirium, when I sent this build into it in a previous map, I was still freezing a lot of the rares, all of the magic mobs, and all of the normal monsters. And I can't tell you how good that is for Beyond. Now, I showcased Beyond and Legion, but I didn't really talk about Beyond. Beyond is a complete non-factor for this build. I mean, it's just free money. You don't have to worry about getting ripped by Beyond. Even if a nasty rare spawns, the second, 25 spider normal monster spawn, they're instantly frozen. Instantly. You just have to freeze one. The whole thing's frozen because of the prolif anyway. So you don't even have to worry about like one-shotting them or attacking really, really fast to make it work. Totally non-factor. Zero threat. I can't remember the last time I died to a Beyond mob with this build. But anyway, this is where it's coming from. You can see the value points down there with Winter's Embrace, Halcyon, Painseeker Gloves. And, if you want to get really funny, just plug in Expedition's End with the crit variant, and that number goes into the hundreds of millions of ailment threshold. Uber bosses get frozen in that setup, by the way. But not with this one. Gears too bad. Now, if this number is arbitrary to you, right? 13 million, maybe it doesn't mean a whole lot to you. But if I go in here and, I'm not wearing Painseeker gloves like no other Deadeye would on Lightning Arrow, this number would usually look something like this. For freeze to apply to the minimum of 0.3 second, target must have no more than 879,000 ailment threshold. A lot of enemies in a map have over that. Some of the normal monsters don't, but a lot of enemies do, even in a no delirium. So that's why a Lightning Arrow Deadeye doesn't freeze enemies very well. But this build does. That's a huge difference. Okay, that's a multiplier. That's like a 15x multiplier. I'm freezing enemies 15 times as well as a conventional Lightning Arrow Deadeye would. Now, I threw off Painseeker gloves and I was wearing them in this setup, so the number does look a little different here. So this particular Lightning Arrow Deadeye does actually freeze things pretty well. But the second I switch to crit, I run in Shadows and Dust and not doing that anymore. So there you go, guys. That's the crazy big difference. So the damage is coming from what I said earlier. 110% increased damage taken on account of the cold version. And granted, that is with a bossing setup. And that is assuming I'm freezing the bosses for up to 10 seconds, which may not be the case with this threshold setup. So, if you want to get a little bit of a closer look, maybe without the freeze being involved, okay, maybe it's a little bit closer, okay, a little bit, but still quite impactful. By the way, I'm 30% chill everything, except a Pinnacle boss in this setup. And those numbers were pulled from here. It's the Pinnacle boss, 20% chance to chill. And so these numbers go up even higher in maps. Everything is 30% chilled in maps. Even the map boss was, as you could see. Yeah, so these are configured the same way. Both sides, the Lightning Arrow version and this version. Sorry, they don't link up quite the same. I'm not freezing over here, so that number is only 2 for the taming. The shocks are actually the same. Actually, the Elemental Spectrum shocks harder than Lightning Arrow with this gear threshold, unless I am actually wearing Painseeker gloves with Lightning Arrow. So yeah. There you go, guys. That is the tech in question. That's the showcase. There's a little bit of a comparison. I'm going to be coming out with more videos comparing the two, progressed with crit versions of the build. I still don't have a Headhunter Magic Find version, but that is something I'm going to make. I'm thinking about making a no-hit Sanctum League Start version. I think this build could be amazing for early League Sanctum, which is apparently a really popular thing that I personally don't care about. But given the situation, I figured with the advantage this build has, might as well give people something a little more flavorful than what traps and ballistas that everybody runs in Sanctum normally. By the way, the chance to shock and freeze is kind of low for the other build. It's a pity. Lightning Arrow doesn't even come with a free chance to shock. I don't know why that is, but that's it. All right, so that is it for the video. Very few changes were made here. Just TLDR, I dropped the Fangs of Frost. I dropped, I picked up Mark of Prey. I picked up 2 max frenzy charges, dropped the mana reservation efficiency, picked up a few things. So I tried to make the Lightning Arrow build as comparable as I could. But the numbers don't lie here. Those are some of the numbers, and you know, that's why, okay? That's why the Lightning Arrow build didn't even really clear better. But again, it will look a little bit closer. The gap will close a bit when we compare higher tier maps. However, that's not going to mean a whole lot except for Legions, I think. I want to know what you guys' opinion is of this. Did you like this video? Do you feel like it provided a lot of value? I really want to, you know, bring this news to the community about this build, because I think it's absolutely going to be worthy contender of one of the best archetypal Deadeye builds we've seen in a very, very, very long time that I can remember. This is better than any Deadeye build I think I've ever ran. I'm quite certain of that. So that's it for the video. Appreciate you watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, or what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. There's going to be more focus on this build in different ways, comparing and contrasting and stuff like that. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.